Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Sheila Exchange weekly segment hosted by me, Sheila Singam of Human Equation. It's conversations about this and that, and every week we choose a different personality, a person from different walks of life to come on board and talk about the experiences, what they do, have some fun, have some laughs. And today I have with me Indian classical dance doyen, Shangita Namasivayam, very well known in the Indian classical dance circuit. Shangita is a live wire. I always call her, in Malaysians, we call her chili padi, small, packed with potency, a whirling dervish of a woman. She's never quiet for a single minute. She's loads of fun, hilarious, but very, very serious about her craft. Now, Shangita is trained, she's Kalakshetra trained. Kalakshetra is the foremost school of dance in India. For those of you who don't know much about the classical Indian classical arts, it's like the Harvard of Indian classical dance schools. So Shangita is trained there in a very, very rigorous dance form of Bharatanatyam. And she's also an Odissi dancer. She is very relaxed about many aspects of life, but about classical dance, she's very serious. She's very, very clued in. She is the doyen of classical dance in Malaysia. Welcome, Shangita, to the Sheila Exchange. Thank you for agreeing to be on board with us.
Good evening, Sheila. Thank you for having me. What a wonderful personality repertoire you gave of me. Thank you.
I only tell the truth, Shangita, and that's you. I've known you for 10 years now. And ladies and gentlemen, believe me, there's never a dull moment with Shangita. Whether she's having dinner with you or going on holiday with you, or even watching her on stage, I've seen her dance so many times. And she just leaves me breathless. I am riveted by her performance and the performances of her two daughters, Rita, okay, and
Rita's watching, I think she's here.
Aditi and Rita, yeah, the amazing dancers who've inherited their mother's talent, no doubt. Now, Shangita is also the founder of Kalpana Dance Theatre, which is quite well known and has trained many students. All right. Shangita, tell me a little bit about your background growing up in Sri Lanka.
Sheila, I grew up all my life in Sri Lanka, a very conservative Tamil home. In Sri Lanka, every Tamil child learned South Indian music or dance. Likewise, so did I and my sisters. But I remember my mother telling me that from the age of 3.5, 4, from the time I could speak, I used to ask her to take me to dance class. So every year there is a time during the 10-day prayer, Navaratri time, where new students are enrolled. She would take me and the teacher would tell me, bring her next year. And I would go back so heartbroken. Then take me back the next year and sent back. So eventually I started dancing at about 4.5, 5 actually. And thereafter, there was no looking back. There was a small phase in my life where I actually went off dance, not for any reason, but my mother would send the driver late to pick me up from dance class. And I would be the only child waiting in this huge building all alone. So for a 9, 10-year-old child, it was a little scary. So I said, no, I don't want to learn dance. I want to stop. And my mother said, no, you don't stop. You don't start and stop as you please. So what you start, you finish.
Good, as all Indian mothers would say.
And I'm so glad she did, because what a loss it would have been otherwise. But anyway, I think mother or no mother, if dance was my calling, it would have happened anyway. Yep. So it happened through my mother. And I don't know what I would be. I don't know what I would call myself without dance.
I
So
can't imagine you not dancing, Shangita. I can't imagine you not
can you
dancing.
imagine, Sheila, if I was to sit and knit or sew? My
You
God,
would have gone mad, Shangita.
precisely.
Yeah.
So from there, I had some of the best teachers in Sri Lanka, Kamala John Pillai, who was the first Sri Lankan to actually go to the Harvard of Indian Classical Dance, Kalakshetra.
Mm.
Very senior dancer. So I finished my Arangetram there. And then this is very funny, I must tell you. At 16, I told my mother, I want to go to Kalakshetra.
Mm.
And so my parents very dutifully went and checked the place out and came back and said, you won't last a day there. So I think you should rethink this. I said, no, I'm going. So when I left, actually, many of my family laughed at me and said, Namasivayam's daughter is going to Kalakshetra. We'll give her 2 weeks. She'll be back. But everything my mother and father said and my family saw was true. It was a complete culture shock from a comfortable home where I'd never seen the inside of a bus to wearing sari 24/7 and washing your own dining plate, waking up at 5 o'clock. The discipline, the whole system was different. It was very hard. There was, for 3 years, I cried. For a whole 3 years, I cried. And the last 2 years that I spent doing my post-graduation, I made everybody else cry. So, but when I left, so I went in very determined. And there were many times my mother would say, but come back. It was your choice. We didn't force you. Please come back. And I said, no, because all these mommies' faces came in front of me. 2 weeks and she'll be back, you know. So I said, no, I'm going to do this. So I finished with first class honors and went on. I got a double promotion, which is quite a rare thing in Kalakshetra. I worked very hard. And Sheila, when I walked into Kalakshetra, you're a bit overwhelmed because you come from this very protected background home in Sri Lanka. And you know, you grew up, I was brought up with no complexes, no issues. But you walk in and you see these beautiful, tall, fair girls, long haired, you know, eyes all beautifully drawn. Then I look at myself, this short, bespectacled, dark, curly haired dancer. You know, I said, no, I don't fit into this mold at all. Now what do I do? You know, and that was the day I said, okay, I'm going to do something that none of the others would do. And that would make me a winner, which was I would work 300 times harder than any one of those other beautiful dancers there. And that's what I did, Sheila. I worked and I worked and I worked. And I truly think there's no shortcut. Talent will carry you to a certain
extent,
you know, length, but it's only hard work. What is the point of talent if you don't harness it and fine tune it? So I worked so hard. I think I still hold the record of being the only student in Kalakshetra who said, no more practice.
You were told not to practice.
No more practice. Because I would jump from one class to another, to another, to another. And so that's all my focus was. That and also the life skills that I learned in Kalakshetra, I came out thinking, my God, no mother-in-law will intimidate me anymore. I can deal with anyone. So here I am frightening you as well for sometimes.
Yeah, you do. But you know, what you've said, funny as parts of it may be, it's very sort of profound in the sense that you never gave up. You never let what people said and what was the standards for the industry define you. And I think that's a very, very powerful message for those listening out here. That just because people think you need to look a certain way or be a certain way, or that you are a certain way, that, oh, you cannot succeed and you won't fit in there, but you made yourself fit in. You not only made yourself fit in, Shangita, you really excelled and proved that no matter who you are, if you have in your mind a picture of who you want to be, you can be that person. And I think that's really so powerful and that's so inspiring. So tell me, from Kalakshetra, from Sri Lanka, and then going to Kalakshetra, how did you end up in Malaysia?
So I finished Kalakshetra, my postgraduate degree, went back to teach in Sri Lanka when all these communal issues were happening in the country. I was married soon after. I got married almost a couple of months after I completed my my course. And what my father advised this young Tamil couple was, there's no more hope for you all in this country. Move on if you all can. So my husband, who is a civil engineer, and I, we migrated to Australia in 1989. So that was another, from 600 students. And being a who's who in Sri Lanka, you go into another space where you have to start all over again. But you're 25, you have enough energy, you're optimistic, you're willing to work. So you start this whole process. And we were there. I had my dance school there, but that was my peak performing time, Sheila. I was traveling internationally. I was performing a lot. So in between small jobs in Australia, my main focus was dance and performing more than even teaching. And in 1991, my husband moved here with a job, a new job. I stayed on for a little longer, and then I joined him here, saying we would stay here for 2 years. And here I am, almost 30 years down the line, calling Malaysia my home forever, I hope.
I hope so too.
So again, you come back, another new space. You start working all over again. So this goes on, but I think hard work has paid. Today, Kalpana Dance Theatre is recognized as one of the 4 frontier organizations promote Odissi and Bharatanatyam. And I'm happy, I'm content, and looking forward to new things.
Now, Shangita, you started, I'm having a bit of backflow here. So you started the Kalpana Dance Theatre and in Malaysia as a performing arts school as well as a school that teaches. Yeah. So tell me, at that time, and even now, right, as the young people get more and more modern, families get more modern, is that interest in classical Indian dance to perform as well as to watch, is that still alive? Is it growing? Is it getting less?
I think it's growing, Sheila. There's no dearth for interest and support. All Indian parents, like back home in Sri Lanka, I think all of them, it's important for them. Children go to international schools and whatnot. They do their kickboxing and jazz and whatnot. But to learn an Indian art form, whether it's music or dance, is also important because it also teaches you a way of life, teaches you your culture. So I don't think there is any lack of interest or support. I have been supported very well, and the support is only growing. Interest is greater and greater, which is fantastic.
What's the impact, Shangita, of learning Indian classical dance and music forms? What's the impact on the life of the students that, as you have seen it over the years?
Sheila, it's not just about this beautiful hands and beautiful eye movements or whatever. See, dance teaches you so many bigger things. First of all, discipline, coordination of all your body, soul, and mind. And children, as they grow, I have had children from the age of 5 now with me at 25, 30, and their parents look at what all dance has given them outside the performing arena. Group spirit, confidence, support, to carry yourself beautifully, learning the scriptures of your own culture, learning to dress and appreciate your own culture, proud of who you are. because like I said, these kids, our kids today, I have a very mixed lifestyle.
Yep.
So, I mean, I am very comfortable in my jeans, and so am I in my sari. So I think that's what we should promote today, because everything is possible if there is a balance. And it is important for our generations to carry forth our rich heritage. So how do you do that if our children, we don't teach our children?
Right. And you have also been instrumental in the dance development and career of your own daughters, and Rita and Aditi, who are actually exponents. I've seen them dance numerous times, and I can safely tell you, not telling you this, Shangi, because you're my friend, but I have never been brought up in the tradition of Indian classical dance, but when I see it, I know when it's the real thing, and I know talent and a gift when I see it, and those girls have it. So basically, your spirit, your genes are very strong in them. So I had a question from one of the persons who are here, who are listening in, from Jamuna Karmehan, who's just taken up Bharatanatyam about a year plus ago. She says, Madam, my question is, what is your advice to women in their early 40s without any prior dance experience picking up this beautiful art form? Maybe you want to answer that.
There's no age limit, Sheila, at all. Yamuna, you can do it just like anybody else. The difference between children and adults learning is the children sometimes are forced, they're also pressured, there are many other pressures. But when an adult comes to learn dance, they come there because they want to do it. And they learn faster, the mind learns faster. Okay, the body coordination might not be as quick as a young child is, but there is no other issues. I have a lot of senior people learning to dance, mothers who bring their children, and can we join as well, And Yamuna, you can do it very easily without any hesitation. Go for it.
Great. There you go, Jamuna. You've heard from the guru herself. Okay. So Shangita, you get a lot of your energy, and you give a lot of your energy to your performances. I've seen how, for those of you who don't know, I remember about 10 years ago, Shangita was putting up a performance, and then she was mugged, and someone sort of snatched her chain, and she fell down and she hurt her leg, and yet there she was a few hours later dancing on stage, and you would never have known that. And I call that passion and dedication to a craft. But I also know nothing will stop Shangita from getting onto her stage herself and putting on her performances, because she lives and breathes for it, right? So what happened during the MCO when you couldn't put up these performances, Shangita? How did it affect you?
Sheila, I was on a high during the MCO, actually.
You were? Tell me.
Because you don't necessarily have to be on stage or creating something physically. I was doing so much of creative work, Sheila. It gave my mind, my body, my spirit space to see. We are on a roller coaster. We are on a running train, non-stop train. We have to keep going. We have to keep creating new things. So at some point there is you get a little monotonous, you get tired, you get a little rustic. So this was a huge, it was like a breath of fresh air for me. Firstly, I got up, I was able to sleep in, get up without alarms ringing through your head. All of this actually rejuvenates you, and enhanced my creative process. So there's a lot of new work that I've already started working on. September, October next year, you'll see me back. Hopefully not on Zoom. Please, oh God, that kills it for me. But so I've already spoken to the other artistic directors who are coming in with me, the script writer. We have spoken to musicians. I have read up my books that I want to, my research is done. So all this I was able to do during the MCO. So you don't literally have to be on stage.
Right.
And so I think it was a good breathe, and I think it's good for everybody to take a step back and question and look back and creatively rejuvenate yourself. For me, that's how it was.
I think, Shangita, seeing the way you work, and some people think that when you're in the creative arts, you don't work as hard as you do when you're running a business. But I can tell you, Shangita works harder than all of us, getting up at dawn, teaching classes, sort of choreographing performances, organizing, coordinating teams of musicians and dancers to come from various parts of the world, putting them together in rehearsals in a very, very grueling schedule. I've seen her. And she's not a person who can sit quietly. So I think MCO has, in a way, trained her to sit quietly and given her the opportunity to think and create in her mind. And as you are right, Shangita, it coming from you to tell me that the MCO was a rejuvenating, refreshing time for you.
Yeah.
I think it's a great lesson to all of us that sometimes when the world doesn't flow as you expect, when things like this happen, and you can't go out there and do the performances or have the audience live. And I know that performers thrive on a live audience more than anything. I think it taught you that if you can't do that, then you learn to do something else. You pivot.
You just have to let go of what you can't control, Sheila. What
Absolutely.
But I did have a show on the 8th of August.
I know.
Saturdays ago. We had a live audience of almost 250, 300 people.
Wow.
And all of them, it was quite an amusing sight to see these entire audience with masks on watching our performance. But we live streamed it as well to accommodate all those wonderful supporters we could not have there due to the SOPs. So I think, see, you can lock me down, Sheila, but you can never lock the artist in me. That artist will be jumping, doing our star jumps constantly. So how I do it will work around the current situation. But never say die. I'm very optimistic. Everything is going to be back. We're already on our way to a fair bit of normalcy. Classes have started. I've stopped my online classes. I'm doing physical classes now. It's only the very little children. Parents are a little skeptical still, but all the other children are back on board. I have another major performance with Yayasan Hassana and CIMB on the 5th and 6th of September at the Publica Open Arena. So it's a free performance. So please do come. We are a part of a huge team. There are many other groups as well. So
I will. That's just down the road from my house, certainly.
Saturday, Sunday, Sheila, do come.
I will. It's very interesting what you said, Shangita, that you can lock me in, but you can't lock the talent and from coming out. And I think the artist, and I think that is something that all of us should take away. That's a very powerful lesson, that we can all be locked in the within the four walls, but the mind doesn't have to be locked in. The mind can keep creating, the body can keep dancing, the voice can keep singing, we can keep writing, and we can just keep doing new things and finding ways.
Innumerable possibilities and new things keep coming up. I was able to walk, listen to the birds, watch the flowers. So for me, I loved the MCO. I was sad it was over.
I think a sentiment many people sort of shared. Shangita, just give me a few minutes. I'm going to share some pictures of Shangita in action. Those who have never seen her in a performance mode, I'm going to share this with you so you can see Shangita in her element. I don't know about you not fitting in with those tall, fair, beautiful, straight-haired women. I think you're absolutely gorgeous in these pictures, Shangi. So much of talent, so much of poise, so amazing to see you in these pictures. This is Shangita in her element, expressions and all, in her younger days, right? And Shangita, Yes, but still, I've seen you not so long ago, and it's still very relevant. So your daughter Aditi is trying to get into the Zoom room, and I've just admitted her. So Shangita, just the final question. You've been doing this for 30 years. You were born to dance. You have dance in every vein of your body, in every cell. You breathe it, you live it, you eat it, you let it out, you perform, you teach it. Just some final words of what is the legacy that you want to leave behind.
I think my spirit more than anything else.
Yep.
I think if I can pass on my spirit and love for dance to at least some of the next generation, I think I've done my job. You won't believe, Sheila, how happy I am to see young students perform beautifully. They don't have to be my students, because I know what it takes for a youngster of this generation. So much discipline, so much time, so much hard work. So more than anything, if I can pass that intangible spirit, that energy that you said is so, for me, energy, I think, is important. If that energy, if that spirit, if that love is there, the body will do its own work.
For those who don't know, Shangita, that energy and spirit is not intangible. It's very palpable. When I'm with Shangita, I am really, truly energized, because she's got so much of energy to share. She's got so much of passion, not just for her craft, for her friends. And they always say, Shangita, that a truly good teacher is never forgotten by her students. And I think there are many out there who have learned, whose feet have followed your feet, whose hands have followed your hands, whose expressions have mirrored your expressions. I think none of them will ever forget you. I've never been taught by you, but Shangita, you're truly memorable.
Thank you, Sheila.
Being with us today on the Sheila stage.
To all our young ones. Live life, dance before the music is over, they say. Live life before life is over. Live in the moment. Enjoy life, love life. And I think the rest the universe will do for us. Thanks, Sheila, for having you.
Thank you. And those not memorable advice, I think even the old ones can take on and follow and do it. Yep. Thank you, Shangita, for being with us on the Sheila Exchange.
Thank you.
If there are any sort of questions, any more questions, Jamuna Karmehan has said, just watching you speak, ma'am, you're so inspiring. Oh my God, those beautiful curls. Thank you. Shangita, Jamuna has the same curls that you do.
Oh, thank you.
To everyone who's listening on Facebook Live as well as our Zoom room, thank you for being with us this evening. I hope you've been truly inspired by the story of Shangita Namasivayam, founder of Kalpana Dance Theatre, doyen of Indian classical dance, and my friend.